There's this guy who flips a coin and he says, before it lands, you would already know, do you want it heads or tails? And I think that is actually so true that you can say that I just want to do a coin toss, but the moment you toss it, you go like, I wish it's like tails. So you can already tell which way your heart is going. And
welcome back to Let's Ascend, a channel where you get perspectives on rising up in your personal and professional life. My today's guest is Dr. Pallav Sharda, a medical doctor who fell in love with technology. After completing his MBBS from Delhi, Pallav moved to the US to study technology and built a career that is at the intersection of healthcare and technology. Pallav has worked with some preeminent organizations like General Electric Healthcare and Google X, the cutting-edge R&D arm of Alphabet. During my conversation, Pallav shared the importance of exploring your options fearlessly, the importance of kindness in rising up, the principle of minimizing your regrets, and many similar lessons that helped him rise up in his life. And in line with the tradition of Let's Ascend, Pallav summarized his journey through a beautiful piece of poetry that I sang on his behalf. So please do watch this video till the end. And if you like the kind of content that I create, do consider subscribing to my channel.
Right, so welcome Pallav. Thank you so much for taking out time for Let's Ascend. It's a pleasure to have someone like you in our show today.
thank you, Vishal. It's a privilege and an honor. Happy to be here.
Super. And Pallav, you had a wonderful journey, right? I got a glimpse of it when I was reading about you. I think it will be great if we begin with you talking about your journey so far.
Thank you for calling my journey great. I think looking backwards, it makes more sense than when I was leading it looking forwards. I grew up in a sort of normal Delhi household. My father and mother were both doctors, and I took that path initially. In 1995, I joined a medical school in Delhi, and I was interested in computers. 1999, 2000, Y2K happened, and I was dabbling with programming myself. At that time, I was doing a junior residency in the anesthesia department, and I decided to take a break. I was very lucky that my parents supported me, and that break was supposed to introduce me to computer science a little bit more formally. And in that exploration, I found medical informatics, which was a sort of a hybrid between computers and healthcare. So that kind of got me off of the purely clinical track and into more technology. And that was the year 2001. Then I came to America, I studied medical informatics. And long story short, the next 10 years, I was working for various American corporations, doing electronic medical records, other things that were full-time healthcare IT career. It just kept getting better and better. I was secretly kind of thinking I can always go back to medicine and sort of pick it back up, and this is all like a nice vacation. But somewhere in 2008, I realized this is what I want to do, and did an MBA, kind of switched over completely. I have done clinical foundation, I know technology, but I felt like I wasn't getting heard in GE. Because people used to either take me as a doctor or take me as a technologist, but never like as a business decision maker. So that's why I did MBA, and I finished it in around 2010. And the last 10 years, 2010 to 2020, I've left big corporations, done some of my own startups, and found my way back to big tech. And that was my last big corporate job. I was at Google for 3 years. So I was the healthcare industry leader for Google Cloud. I was helping hospitals and insurance companies and other healthcare entities figure out how they can use Google Cloud to deliver better care to patients. That was my first 2 years at Google. And then I switched over to X, which is the R&D arm of Alphabet. And X does the self-driving car, They do weather balloons, delivering internet, all sorts of like planet scale projects. There, I was working on something that had to do with healthcare and technology, and it's if they come out with it ever, I'll be able to share more with you. I left Google last year to work for a small startup that is doing again healthcare technology things. So that's like the work journey, and I'm happily married for since 2004. I have a daughter, 13-year-old, and a little dog. So that's my life so far. Some days you're doing what your daytime job requires you to do, but you're always thinking about something else, and you're feeling like, "Arey yaar, 2 ghante aur hote, so I could have done this other thing about maybe it's music for you or something like that," where you almost always feel like, "Oh, I'm just about to get some time to do this." And for me, while doing healthcare, which was a very nice, it's a very fulfilling career. I was always interested in like programming and computers, and I think everybody gives me a lot of credit for figuring out how to escape the gravitational pull of like a very traditional, noble career like healthcare and going somewhere different. I think it's more about the people who supported my explorations. Us samay to like like any other 20-year, 21-year-old, you feel like, I don't know what this means. I'm just thinking about it a lot, and I'm tinkering with it. But my mother, my father, friends supported me and kind of said, "No, you should explore it more." And literally, I spent CP mein there is a center called USEFI, United States Educational Foundation something. So I think 1999, like I used to get on my motorcycle, go from college, go to USEFI, park my bike, go to their library and pick up these big manuals. I think they were like Peterson's or something like that, where they had course list from all universities or most universities from US. And I used to just like go through the index thinking healthcare ka jo bhi hai, look it up and see if it had any technology angle to it. I found medical transcription, medical technician, and I also found informatics. And it seemed like something interesting, and it was a leap of faith to go do something different with the obvious sort of fallback option of coming back and finishing healthcare. I can safely say I've taken some unconventional decisions. One thing that I've realized now is you can only connect the dots looking backwards. Something that Steve Jobs said and really kind of resonated with me was every time you're trying to make a tough decision, you try to make sense out of it. Like अगर मैं medicine छोड़ दूंगा और मैं technology करूंगा तो मुझे job मिलेगी कि नहीं मिलेगी, ये इस degree का क्या होएगा. And I just feel like you should take a path where you minimize your regrets and not worry too much about how much it makes sense today looking forward, because it'll only make sense looking backwards. And I mean, my career looks so much more organized and planned the way I explain it, but I was in shambles every time. Like when I was finishing my medical school and trying to join a residency, anesthesia lu, radiology lu, milega admission, nahi milega, complete shattered, and almost we used to joke like, yeah, हर 5 साल में हम सड़क पे आ जाते हैं. You're like, you achieve something, and then you come to a decision point and you're like, I'm nothing, I'm nobody, I don't really know what's going on. And fast forward, after informatics, I did informatics, job milegi nahi milegi, what did I get myself into? After the first job, 5 years of it, is this a true career? Where would I go after this? It's only after like it keeps repeating that you go like, it will never make sense looking forward. But when you look back, what you can say is, if I had not taken that decision, I would be less happy. And I think that is the way to move forward is just think about like if I wake up tomorrow and I haven't done this, will I be sad or will I be happy? And I don't know which picture it was, but there's this guy who flips a coin and he says, before it lands, you would already know do you want it heads or tails? And I think that is actually so true that you can say that I just want to do a coin toss, but the moment you toss it, you go like, I wish it's like tails. So you can already tell which way your heart is going. And I think if you just keep doing that, you'll stay happier. If you stay happier, you'll be more productive. People will realize it. And the world is changing so fast that aaj ka engineer might be, tomorrow's behavioral economist. And so like, who knows what's going to happen? So it's especially from a career perspective, just things that make you happy are the right things to do. One of the personal inspiring stories was that of my grandfather. So, mere Dadaji was a freedom fighter for India. And I don't know the exact years, but he was born in early 1900s, and he used to be a helper boy in a cloth shop. So, matlab, किसी कपड़े के दुकान पे he was from जो उनका गांव था वहाँ से वो सिर्फ वो काम करने जाते थे. एक दिन कोई डॉक्टर आए उस दुकान पे, and he observed the shop owner acting very differently to the doctor, and he just made up his mind कि मुझे तो डॉक्टर बनना है. And so imagine like किसी गांव का कोई लड़का, and he was very young. So he wrote to Ghanshyam Das Birla at that point, and he used to tell us कि postcard पे लिखा मैंने भेजा, and for all like Birla ji, he responded back and he sent him. So उन्होंने लिख के भेजा कि मुझे डॉक्टर बनना है, आप प्लीज मेरी मदद कर दीजिए. So for the next few years, he used to get 5 rupees every month from Ghanshyam Das Birla. And there are stories of that my father used to tell me about my grandfather कि उन्होंने medicine की जो बड़ी books होती हैं anatomy की, he didn't have enough money to buy them, so he used to get it from his classmates and then sit under a street light and actually copy them by hand. So he would have, so his effort in trying to become somebody different and escape what was gravitational pull of his family and his status at that point. I think that fundamentally within one generation just set our family on a different course. So my father became a doctor. In fact, he was a veterinarian first and then became a MBBS. So he did it twice. And you're crediting me with achievements that I think have fundamentally been just human kindness of one very wealthy person who took a chance on somebody he didn't know and probably didn't even know was genuine. And I just think that's amazing. If you can change somebody's life like that, imagine हमारी family में जितने लोग हैं, जितने accomplished हैं, they are because somebody in early 1900s took a chance on a small boy and supported him without wanting anything in return. आप आभा के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, तो मेरे कुछ दोस्त और हमने we tried to get together and try to do similar things, obviously with whatever scale we have, and we named it Aabhar because I think we're very thankful to be in a spot because of somebody's kindness.
Another thing that just struck me is that your grandfather had that vision first that he wanted to become a doctor, right? So that having that kind of an aspiration when you were working in that small kapde ki dukan, to have that aspiration कि यार मुझे डॉक्टर बनना है, पहली चीज. दूसरा, to have that courage to write a letter to an industrialist, right? Who would think कि someone will respond to a small boy working in a village, right? But he at least took that initiative, which is what most people don't do. If you don't ask, you don't get it, right? But at least he made the effort to get that. Very powerful, yeah. And as you rightly said, that changed the generations for your family.
I think small things matter at work. They may not be said like that, but if you write a document and it looks crap, people associate that with you. People may not actually even know that they're using a document, or the way you talk, or the way you write your emails. All of those little details, they combine to make this sort of subconscious image. And I found that my success, or at least my impression and my authority at work, comes from attention to details. Small pieces connected together actually make a bigger impact than a big decision or a big piece. So it actually applies to health too. Let's say you're coming to work, right? And there's the stairs and there's an elevator. And you know that if you took the stairs, it might be better for your heart and for your health. But for micro decision of taking the stairs that day and other micro decisions like that are what compound into your health. Not the fact that you spent 45 minutes at gym, every third day, although that helps. But this sort of like fragmented microcosm of little things that add up to bigger things. I grew up in the 70s and 80s where, liberalism and sort of everything was looking great and the countries were at great relationships with each other. Technology was there, we got the microwave and fridge. So the world was looking better and better. And if at that point somebody would have told me or told anybody that, imagine if there was a machine that could give you an answer for any question that had an answer. If you want to learn how to knit something, if you want to learn how many moons there are on Saturn, you could just get that answer. You'd be like, uske baad to like, everything is going to be even more awesome. Like everybody would have the information they need. And we have it. Like we have Google, we have search engines, right? Like we have all the information we need. And I think it is, so I've kind of like come a full circle, and I don't want to be a pessimist, but we are more divisive now. Politics seems a little bit more sort of extreme. It's, people don't believe in climate change. People don't believe in vaccines. So it seems like just having information is not enough. Having too much information is also a problem. I mean, we all deal with WhatsApp. So the principle there was, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I speak as a person who's actually pursued degrees more than once and seemingly sort of checked the box on, knowing medicine, knowing business, knowing technology. I just feel like it just comes back to who you know. Like people learn from other people. People get inspired from other people. And I think fundamentally that's what gets you forward in life. Like knowing you was through another friend that we have in common. And I'm sure we'll come out better people after this conversation. So
now we've come to a stage where we try and conclude every video with a song that somehow represents either your journey or the beliefs or the principles that you believe in. So you have to tell us which is that song that comes to your mind, why, and if you can sing it, that will be great. Otherwise, I can do that on your behalf later.
It's a beautiful question to ask, because you're essentially asking somebody to summarize their likings and their what guides them. It's actually a poem. And it's Madhushalla by Harivansh Rai Bachchanji. It's one of those things that, like a good movie, like you watch it again and you find something and you're like, wow, like, I mean, I never saw that before. And it just keeps giving you something new every time you hear it. Hindi or Urdu ka bahut acha mix hai uske andar, and it has very deep meaning. It basically describes the human journey, right from birth to kind of the complexities of life as you grow up and death. Every paragraph ends with the word Madhushalla, which, you may think that it's about a drunk looking for a place to get a drink, but it's like a human being looking for something that is an inspiration, that's an ambition, that's something that he desires or she desires. For like our conversation, I picked up something that is about passion and how it changes you. So it goes like, Lalait adharo se jisne hai nahi chumi hala. So somebody who's not yearned for a drink, which is again in this case a metaphor. हर्ष विकम्बित कर से जिसने हाय न छुआ मधु का प्याला, हाथ पकड़ लज्जित साकी का पास नहीं जिसने खींचा, व्यर्थ सुखा डाली जीवन की उसने मधुमय मधुशाला. So if you've not had a passion and yearned for it, and if you've not brought others along with you, then your life is a waste. It's just a masterpiece of human abilities and how to transcend it into words.
So, in line with the request that Pallav made to me, I'm going to sing a verse from Madhushalla. और जो वर्ड्स मैंने सिलेक्ट किया है उसका असेंस है परसिवेरेंस. तो हम जब भी अपनी ज़िंदगी में अपने ड्रीम्स को परसू करने के लिए आगे बढ़ते हैं तो हमें बहुत सारे लोग बहुत सारे रास्ते बताते हैं कि ऐसा पाथ कर लें, ऐसा पाथ ले लें, ये कर लें, वो कर लें, जिससे कई बार हम कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. तो ये पोइट्री कहती है कि आप कंफ्यूज ना हो, आप उनमें से एक ही रास्ता चुनें लेकिन उस रास्ते पे अडिग रहें. Just persist on that path and you are bound to succeed. So here it goes. मदिरा ले जाने को घर से चलता है पीने वाला, मदिरा ले जाने को घर से चलता है पीने वाला, किस पथ से जाऊं असमंजस में है वह भोला भाला, अलग अलग पथ बतलाते सब, अलग अलग पथ बतलाते सब, पर मैं यह बतला